Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Sowing and Reaping YouTube channel. Um, the earlier video that I made today, I made a mistake and put it on the wrong channel, but I'm gonna keep it here anyway. I just wanted to make sure I had a copy of it on YouTube. I might private it sometime in the future. I don't know, but again, welcome to Sowing and Reaping. And what I want to do is and I probably shouldn't be wasting my time doing this, to be perfectly honest. I'm going to be responding to what Dumb and Dumber said about me in their latest video, and that would be Shani and Rev. And them just constantly getting on here with the handkerchief and constantly whining and crying and everything. And what I want them to do is to stop blaming me for all of their problems. Okay. And because what they're doing is that they're laying around the house, they get themselves a little bit of donations or whatever. They take their donations, they buy Delta 8, and then they reminisce on the golden days when they were friends with me and they was able to get whatever they wanted, and all they had to do was text me and get what they wanted. They had a consistent roof over their head. If they wanted food, they could have got that. They could have got whatever they wanted. But they're talking about me living in the past. These two are ultimately living in the past because they won't let certain things go themselves. And I want to talk directly right now to Shani and Rev right now, to the camera or whatever. Shani, it is not my fault that you did not keep your life private when you was in Boulder, Colorado. It is not my fault that you told everybody on YouTube, particularly after you gave me the house, started talking about all of this money that Rev had. You can't blame Dragnet for that. And I even mentioned this while he was doing the Summer of G-Man. You can't blame him for that because you're the one getting on here telling everybody what Rev's net worth was. Okay, you can't really blame me for the shopping that you did when you was in Boulder, Colorado, when he had all that money and you guys was going out there buying $2,000 and $3,000 laptops. You were going out there buying all that stuff that you already owned in PA, but then you decided to leave all that stuff in PA, buy brand new stuff over there in Colorado. You ended up moving and leaving stuff there, and when you went to your new place, you rebought everything again. You absolutely wasted your money, and you're trying to blame me for this stuff. There's a video that exists of you, Rev, getting on Shani about what really happened to your $700,000 or $750,000. Okay, there are videos out there with Shani giving her money. I'm sorry, giving her mother money, giving Brett King money, trying to bribe him. Hannah Stout giving me money, giving a whole bunch of people money, giving away your money probably without even talking to you. And if you did give her permission, that's even worse. All right. It's not my fault that you have a marijuana problem and you have to have your fix all the time. That has nothing to do with me whatsoever. It is not my fault that you refuse to get a job. It is not my fault that Shani refuses to get a job and wants to play pretend hurting here on social media. It is not my fault. Okay, it's not my fault that you had a $90,000 Durango that you left in the middle of the highway somewhere. That's not my fault. It's not my fault that you got a Cadillac that you eventually had to get rid of because you didn't have any insurance because you were too lazy to take a bus. That's not my fault. It's not my fault when your uncle gives you money in large lump sums and then Shani hears about it that it all gets spent on Delta 8. That's not my fault. It's not my fault that you guys don't know how to shop with your money and you want to go out there and buy processed foods all the time that are really that's really expensive that you should not be buying, and when you should be buying normal food like everybody else and actually cooking it. It's not my fault you don't know how to budget money. It's not my fault that your girlfriend's 30 is 40 and that Rev is 30 something and nobody taught you guys how to budget your money. That's not my fault. It's not my fault that you guys are allergic to soap and water. It's not my fault that the two of you make a lot of statements about different races on here and people don't like you for it. That's not my fault. It's not my fault that people don't think you're Christians on here because you get on here rap-a-dapping about witchcraft and all this other stuff and whatnot, thinking you're going to win friends that way. Now Shani's calling herself a humanist. That's not my fault that Shani says this stupid stuff on social media. And even more and more and more people ain't even paying her no mind now. Because now you're insulting the humanists, real humanists, people who actually believe in humanism. You're now insulting them and treading on their territory now. You know, it's not my fault that when you was in Boulder, Colorado, you chose not to pay your rent. It's not my fault. It was not my fault that you chose to take your rent money and do hauls on YouTube instead of paying your rent. And don't tell me that you were paying your rent, because I have a copy of how far you was behind in your rent. And obviously, I think a lot of these other people on YouTube have that as well. That's not my fault. Okay. It's not my fault that you don't know how to budget your money. If you were getting $5,000 a month, you should have been able to be a responsible adult, to be able to figure out what your rent was going to be, your utilities was going to be, and to pay your bills so you have a roof over your head. That's not my fault. I didn't make you get on here and call everybody the N-word on here, which is one, not the reason, but one of the reasons that got you canceled on YouTube. It's not my fault that Rev has a temper problem and said the things that he said to one of his kids and they got canceled because of it. That's not my fault. Stop blaming me for your problems. It's not my fault that you still receive donations on YouTube and you don't know what to do with them. You want to constantly keep buying Delta 8. It's not my fault that you're not intelligent enough to think that you're going to sucker the uncle for every little penny you can get, because you have no intention on moving. That's why you guys never try to do a GoFundMe so you can get rent and security. You want to stay where you're at forever, and you'll lie, cheat, and steal, and even and if I'm Red's uncle, I might want to think about protecting my health, not eating and drinking after these two, because they're going to do whatever they got to do to keep that roof over their head that they have over there. I do not trust those two in that regard. It's not my fault. Okay, it's not my fault you cannot keep your life private. It's not my fault that Shani can't keep her hands to herself and stay out of jail. It's not my fault, Red, that you can't keep your hands to yourself and stay out of jail. That has nothing to do with me. It's not my fault that you're too lazy to put together a resume, fill out some applications, and go look for a job so you can have a steady income like the rest of us do. That's not my fault. It's not my fault that you won't go to the city and receive Social Security or try to improve your situation with your welfare or whatever. That's not my fault that you don't want to go do that. It's not my fault you don't know your Bible and you come over here and make a fool out of yourselves every time you open up your mouth and talk about the Bible. That's not my fault. And you keep blaming me and blaming me and blaming me. Stop blaming me for your stupid decision making, your unwise decision making, your demonic decision making. That has nothing to do with me. When I get up in the morning, I go to work. I have to go out there and put the time in, and in order to get a paycheck. I don't have time to get on here and prevent you from making any money. Anybody donating to you? Who cares? As long as it ain't my money getting wasted no more, who cares? I honestly don't care no more. Okay, and I'm not saying that that I'm seeing two people that are in need and I don't want to help them. There is a major difference between seeing somebody on here who is destitute and actually needs help, as opposed to two capable people who can get off their butts and go get a job and refuses to do so. A big difference with that. He can't tell me he doesn't know how to rake leaves. He can't tell me he can't sweep floors. He can't mop floors. He can't tell me he doesn't know how to take a shower, put on a shirt and a tie, you know what I mean, a pair of slacks, and go to a job and try to sell them on hiring him. He can't tell me he can't do that. That's not my fault. I'm not the one making you stay in your bed, play video games all day, and then every single time you upload a video to Instagram, every single time you upload a video. No, I did not watch the full 1 hour and something minutes of that last thing, that last video that you guys uploaded. I was skipping because it was boring. Absolutely boring. I just couldn't do it. I'm gonna have to go back to watching people's commentary or whatever on these two, Because when you watch the pure stuff, man, you'll doze off and fall asleep listening to those two. But that ain't my fault. It ain't my fault, Rev, that you got in a relationship with somebody who don't know how to cook or doesn't want to cook. And Shani, it's not my fault that you got into a relationship with a dude that don't want to work and don't want to cook. That's not my fault. You keep talking about forgiveness and forgiveness and forgiveness. What you should be talking about is repentance and having a change of mind about the way you live your life. Because the way you're living your life is going to lead you to sleeping on the sidewalk at some point. You know, you two got this thing going on where you're just waiting to die. And that's your own personal business. That's your own personal business. I'm going to go back, try to do what I was doing before I met the two of you. Somebody on here once said, G-Man, you should just, pretend like these two don't exist. And I'm trying hard to do that. But it's not my fault that you two don't know how to be adults. Now, as far as you bragging about calling the police, and if I come anywhere near the house, listen to me, Rev. You believe everything that people tell you via email. Okay. If by some miracle I end up coming over there and I'm arrested under false pretenses, you, my friend, are going to be in a lot of legal trouble. And you're going to find yourself back in prison for being stupid and not thinking before you opened up your mouth and talked. Because I have what you said now, recorded now. You're not thinking very well, dude. Somebody tells you something, boom, you believe it, and then you run with it. I wonder how many people on that block knows that you're a child abuser. You keep playing with me, dude. You keep playing with me. All right? So it's not my fault that you're gullible and that you believe everything that you're being told. That's not my fault. Stop blaming me for all your problems. Nobody on social media is stopping you from going to look for a job. As a matter of fact, all of your problems will be, the majority, 50% of your problems will be solved if you would just stay off of social media and go find a job and save your money. I'm a human being and I'm telling you this. When you die and you stand before Almighty God, guess what he's going to say to you? Why didn't you go get a job? You keep talking about your temper and how you're going to kill somebody and how you're going to kill somebody. Rev, you couldn't beat up a fly. Like, honestly, you couldn't beat up a fly. Stop blaming me for all your problems, dude. You don't got no food because you're too lazy to get off your behind and go to food banks. Okay? You don't got no gas money because you keep allowing yourself to be manipulated by Shani. So instead of you doing what you're supposed to do, what are you doing? You're going out there getting her Delta 8 because you ain't got no spine. You don't know how to stand up for yourself. But you want to talk all this tough talk regarding me. I am well fed, well nourished. Okay, I take very good care of my body, and I think I can handle you. Stop with the tough guy talk, dude. Like, honestly, stop it. I know you think it makes you look good when you're in the same room with Shandy to talk that way, but in reality, you look stupid. Because one day you may have to back up those words. You just try to remember that. And even Shanny knows you're not going to fare well. Stop blaming me for all your problems. When you was worth $750,000, you ain't put a cap on Shanny. You let her buy all of the weed she could possibly get her hands on. You let this woman spend money. Well, what did somebody tell me on here? Like $3,000 to meet a YouTuber for 1 minute? Like, who does that? she was taking your money and she was buying a whole bunch of junk that I eventually, a lot of that stuff ended up going in the garbage. It's not my fault, Rev, that you go to the blood bank and you sell your plasma, and then Shani makes every excuse in the book why she can't make a sacrifice for your relationship. It's not my fault that you're the one going out there doing all these things like a gopher, while she sits around all day, sitting and literally around the house, giving up nothing with this fake story that she's probably going to die someday. You know what? We're all going to die someday. She ain't saying nothing. She won't specifically say she got cancer because we all know it's a scam. So just stop it. It's not my fault that you're not intelligent enough to know you're with a liar and a scammer and a schemer. That's not my fault. It's not my fault that when you was in Boulder, Colorado, and that house was still in your possession, that you could have paid the taxes, you could have paid for the repairs, and you could have sold that place and had a next egg. That's not my fault that you wasn't smart enough to do that. It's not my fault that when you guys drove all the way from Colorado to Pennsylvania, that you didn't want to respect your uncle the first time before he threw you out. And it wasn't my fault when Shani was earning money via ad revenue in that house, and she wasn't smart enough to save any of it. Like, this woman was literally making money and getting on here begging for money from other people on YouTube. Kind of like what she's doing now. But I got a prediction for you, Shani, and this is going to be your problem and not mine. You continue to get on here and you misrepresent people. Now, we're not talking about me no more. It's these other YouTubers on here, and they got a different conscience than I do. You lost your YouTube channel, you lost your Rumble, you lost your Twitch, and if you ain't careful with that mouth of yours regarding some of these other YouTubers, you won't be on Instagram no more. Not because of me, but because of what other people on here are going to do. Stop with the scamming and the lying, saying that you're going to listen to me. There's nothing wrong with you, and they all know it. And somebody's going to get tired of it, and your Instagram is going to go bye-bye. And it's not my fault you're not intelligent enough to know this. None of that's my fault. You want to blame me for something? Blame me for going out there and giving these people confirmation and information about you two that they never had before. You can blame me for that. And you can blame me for some other stuff. But the stuff that you guys have been complaining about, we want back our stuff. Shani, you didn't change your story. This is why I can't wait until your uncle gives you a little bit of money and you take me to court. I'm just sitting back and I'm just waiting. I want you to get enough money to get an attorney, and I want you to take me to court. And then maybe I'll get even more from you when I'm done suing you. You want to know why I'm believing this? Because I believe if you get a lawyer, I don't know, somewhere in that pea brain of yours, you might think, we can get our stuff back from G-Man. And then you're going to go in front of a judge under oath and tell them that you left that stuff there. And I'm going to be like, watch this video. G-Man, we gave you that stuff to pay rent. G-Man, we gave you this stuff because we love you. G-Man. And you're going to have a problem. You're going to have a problem. A huge problem. Then I'm going to say to the judge, and I'm sorry, when the court case is over, I'm going to sue you for defamation of character. You ain't leave nothing there. Only thing you left there was a bunch of mail, and most of that stuff got thrown in the garbage after I spent literally like a month telling you guys to go back and go get it. You don't want to go there with me. All right? So Somebody's going to watch this video. Somebody is going to send Shani and Rev a email with incorrect information. They're going to see it, and then they're going to believe it. And then they're going to get on here and continue to blame all of their problems on me, not taking any responsibility. See, they blame the YouTube people on here because, you know, the $750,000 went away because they had to move. That's not what your bank records say, Rev. You're lying. And unless you want to go back to jail, I suggest you stop. I can actually defend I as much as I don't like some of these like the people that's formerly known as the Dragoons, I can actually defend them if I want to. I can really defend them if I want to, with hard proof, Miss Parker style. Don't play with me. Everybody knows that 750 went on just frivolous, stupid spending that the two of you were doing out there. When you were bragging about being rich and you were bragging and being all racist and putting down poor people and all the stuff that you guys are doing over there in Boulder. Can't blame me for that. Stop blaming me for your problems, Shani. And I'm going to say this to you again, because I think there's been some type of misunderstanding here. You still think I want you, and you actually think the best way to get me is to try to manipulate me. Listen to me. That might have worked on your little Pee Wee Herman man, that the boy, that little Pee Wee Herman, little Pinocchio liar that you're with now. But some of us are real men, and that ain't gonna work with me. I'm not interested. You have diddly squat to offer. Absolutely nothing. If I want to be a nurse, I'll go get a job and be a nurse. There is absolutely there is nothing about you that screams you are a good woman. Nothing. And that's not my fault. It's not my fault you don't know what a broom is, and you don't know what a mop is, and you don't know how to think about somebody other than yourself. That's not my fault. That's your fault. You thought that money was going to last forever, and it didn't. And your backup plan was, I'm going to get G-Man. After I got called the N-word on multiple occasions, after you tried to play me over and over, actually, you did play me over and over and over, and then tried to play me even more and more and send me to the poorhouse. You're very unappreciative, and you need to stop getting on here trying to send me secret messages in front of your dumb man who don't know what he's talking about. Because at this point, I think I can make a comedy video and show people psychologically why Rev is just that dumb. How Shani sends messages out there without him even knowing it. So listen to me. You two are back with the uncle again. You're content with living there and being panhandlers here on social media. That's what you're content with. You will not be doing that for too much longer because, like I said, you're offending people on here, and eventually one of them is going to take away your channel again. It's only a matter of time. The definition of insanity is believing that you can do the same thing over and over again and think you're going to get a different result. As a Christian, as a person who is a follower of Jesus the Christ, the Son of the living God, I am interested in following his word. Not just being a hearer, but being a doer. It does not tell me to condone or encourage laziness. You keep telling everybody you can't work, Rev, and you keep telling everybody you can't work, Shani. I've been around you too, and I know that's a bold-faced lie. So just stop. The Bible says that if you don't work, you should not eat. The Bible said that diligent hands will rule, but a slothful person will become poor. I think I'm butchering that Bible verse, but that's what it says. You should go take a look at the story of the ant and the grasshopper, and go look at what the result of work will actually get you, as opposed to a person who wants to play and party all the time. Keep talking about how you was a spoiled rich kid, and how you was a spoiled rich kid, and how you was a spoiled rich kid. Now you're a poor man living with a poor woman, and you got two poor people who want the government to take care of them, and they don't want to work or nothing like that. This is why, Rev and Shani, I believe you're going to take the mark of the beast, because all somebody got to do is throw a sandwich at you and you'll take it. All somebody got to do is throw you a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and you'll gladly take it in the right hand or in the forehead, because you have no integrity. You have no self-respect. And more importantly than that, you don't know Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior. Because if you did, you wouldn't be. Now think about this a minute. For the people that believe I'm being judgmental, that's something else that they accuse me of. For the people that think I'm being judgmental, a lot of you probably have Christians in your family. The people who are real Christians, what do you hear them doing? I love my Lord and my Savior, Jesus Christ. He provides for me. He is my provider. They can't say that. They can't say that. Not if you're constantly getting on here and panhandling all the time. At some point, you got to have a testimony that says that Christ did this, this, and this. They don't have that. That relationship is an abomination. And what they're doing with their lives is an abomination. But that's their business. It's none of mine. So if you guys want to be intentional bums on the street, because there's a lot of people out there who are living on the street who would love to get their life together and change their situation. But if you want to be the kind of people that's going to be out there and don't want to do nothing about it, that's your fault, not mine. Don't blame me for that. Shani, the reason why you're suffering is because the person that you're with refuses to get a job. He would rather be homeless than get a job. What part of that don't you understand? And then you call that a good man. You call that a good man. What kind of a female are you? See myself growing up. Oh, one day I want to be involved with a woman that doesn't bathe, and I want to be with a lazy woman who don't do nothing but cry and whine and complain on social media all day. Oh yeah, that's what every man is looking for. No, I don't think so. I don't think so. Stop blaming me for your problems. Stop blaming me for your problems. You don't want to get up and you don't want to work. You don't want to do nothing. That's your personal business. Okay? If you want to call the police and you want to believe that the law says that if I because in order for what you said to be true, you would have to get a restraining order. And if you ever went that far and actually tried to get a restraining order on me, we got some things we need to talk about, Shani. Like that illegal eviction that you did when I lived in that house. And a few other things that you've done. Especially with your cancer scam. And this lying about all these conditions that you got. Because your doctor isn't confirming that you have any of those things. You're just saying you got them because you read about it on YouTube. And you want to know how I know this, Shani? That you're getting all of your medical stuff from YouTube? There's a video that exists on YouTube. I don't think I have it on my laptop. I don't know if any of you have ever seen it. But when she first broke up with Chris, or right before she broke up with Chris, she made a YouTube video talking about sex addiction. And in that video, and by the way, if you don't know what I'm talking about, I'll upload it to this channel. You can see what I'm talking about. But back when she actually looked like she actually used soap and water and her hair was combed and everything and whatnot, she made a YouTube video talking about how women that have been sexually violated become sex addicts. And she's going on the internet getting all of her research on there. And I believe that's how she comes up with all of her conditions, including this so-called borderline personality disorder. Then that's not my fault, Shani, that you won't go to a real doctor and go get a real diagnosis. That's not my fault. Now, for the real reasons that you guys, that you and Rev keep making your little videos all the time. Again, I believe you're monetized. I believe you're either monetized or you're trying to get monetized, or you're really close to being monetized. I see your viewership is going up pretty good on Instagram. Like, people are not just going to the reaction channels anymore. Now they're going directly to your Instagram to watch what you're actually doing. And that's why you're starting to crank out all of these videos. You might be able to fool some of these other people on here, but you ain't fooling me. I see what you guys are doing. And you're not doing nearly as bad as you want to make yourself out to be. All somebody got to do is a little bit of research and you'll see what I'm talking about. Anyway, let me see what you guys are saying in the chat. Yeah, they got 20 people coming on, but then they got 600 and 700 views on their Instagram. They're getting income somehow from doing what they're doing. You have to be threatening her for her to get a restraining. And like I said, I'm not threatening her. Yeah, I'm not threatening her for in order for, for them to get a restraining order on me. What it is that they're getting emails, and these people are actually, Shani and Rev are actually believing everything that's being said or whatever. And this is why I don't want nothing to do with them. You know what I mean? I'm cool with Ms. Star now. I don't have a problem with Ms. Star, but one of my problems I had with Ms. Star before we had our falling out, before we made back up, was the fact that I believe that she was being gullible and believe everything that people was telling her. And I don't like that about Shani and Red. I don't like that about anybody who just believes everything that they're told without actually doing their proper research. Because I know that if they're lying, I can come on here and say, okay, look at this, this, and this, and this. They're lying. G-Man lost his arm. They cut it off. Here's my arm. My arm is not cut off. Like stupid stuff like that. You know what I mean? So, and I'm not going to stay quiet about that kind of stuff no more. I told you I'm going to start responding to nonsense when I feel like it's necessary. But I'm just getting tired of those who blaming me for all of their problems. Now I kind of feel like the reaction channels, because the reaction channels are being blamed for Shani and Red spending their money stupidly. And Shani needs to be careful, because somebody might get offended by that and decide to go get a lawyer. The only reason I don't think nobody on here has done that is because they don't got nothing to lose yet. Your freedom is pretty valuable, Shani. You need to cut that out with your lying and your storytelling. I listened to the two of you talk about the Bible and about love and all this other stuff and whatnot. How love, what is it? How love does know, how no one gets hurt because of love. This is how little you know. And this is why I know you don't know nothing about Jesus. The Bible says, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son, that whosoever will believe him would not perish but have everlasting life, right? In the name of love, what did Jesus do? Jesus, they flogged him to the point that no one could recognize him. They put nails in his hands and they put nails in his feet. And he suffered for our sake. Don't give me this garbage that when somebody loves you, there's no pain in it or nothing like that. You don't know what you're talking about, Shani. You really don't. A lot of times when you're in a relationship with somebody and you love them, you're making sacrifices. You don't make any kind of sacrifices. That's why Red looks like he weighs 2 pounds and you look like you weigh 1,000,000. Because you ain't making no sacrifices for nobody. Well, gee, man, I would if I could. You can make sacrifices. Rev is just gullible. He's very gullible. That's why I said, Shanny, your judgment is Rev. Rev, your judgment is Shanny. I don't have to judge you. You're already in prison. You're already in jail by being with each other, because neither one of you are ever going to get anywhere staying that way. It's the perfect judgment. When Chris dumped you, Shanny, and you had an opportunity to be with somebody, all you saw or Rev was his money. That's not my fault. You had all these other men locally in Minnesota that if they was interested in a woman like you, that you could have dated. You ain't have to drive all the way to Pennsylvania. You were chasing after that man's money. And now that he don't got it no more, and you're seeing who the real person is, you're stuck and you can't go nowhere. So you get on here, you make believe that you actually care about this dude. Now Rev's sitting back there saying, that's not true. That's not true. Hey, Rev, why don't you do a survey? Let's see how many people will agree with me. Don't do it if you really don't want, if you really want the answer. If you don't really want the answer, don't do it. Even the people who like you is going to hurt your feelings. Because ain't nobody in their right mind going to call Shanny a good woman. Was she a good woman when she was going out there calling every black person she possibly could the N-word? When she was calling the geek room the N-word? Was she a good woman when she was going out there lying about her health situation? Was she a good person when she was going out there and taking money that was given to you by your mother and spending it stupidly? There ain't no good woman. That's a gold digger, a black widow. That's who that was. G-Man and Shanny ever tried sleeping with you? When Reb was in prison, the kids, I had one over there, and the kids, because this is when I was trying to bail them out and everything and whatnot. The kids came to me and they was calling me daddy. And Shanny wanted me, said she needed a man to spend a night there because she didn't feel safe and secure. And I said, I'll be right back. I went downstairs. I made a quick video and I got out the house so fast, you wouldn't even know what happened. Because like I said, this was the time when Shanny was sleeping on that pee bed and the smell was just unbelievable. It was unbelievable. So some people are going to see this video as G-Man wants Shanny, and no, I don't. I have standards. I have principles. I am extremely old school. And the stuff that comes out of her mouth, I would never, ever tolerate. I would never tolerate it. If he was, I didn't know about it because he knows I don't rock that way. He knows I don't rock that way. Well, here's the thing. It all came full circle. I always knew that one day that she would try something like that, but I kept telling them over and over and over again I wasn't interested. I just wasn't interested. You don't get on YouTube and kick me out of a house and because we never really talked about that. You know, you don't throw me out of a house because I don't pick up the phone, and you keep talking about how I was supposed to buy a phone and whatnot and all this other stuff and whatnot, and then you repeatedly call me the N-word. You do a background search and then think I'm gonna want to. Shit, he must have lost her mind. I don't think so. There's a difference between friendship and relation and having a boyfriend girlfriend relationship, and that simply wasn't gonna happen. Plus, I don't believe in that premarital sex garbage. So you better get out of here. So just letting you know. So she believes in a lot of stuff that I do not believe in, and I do not hold sacred, and I don't hold dear at all. The reason why I got food and the reason why a lot of you got food because you get up and you go to work, or if you get disability, you take your money and you go out there and you get the food and you ration it throughout the month. You don't go out there and try to eat everything in one day. And then when your food's going, blame the internet for you not having no food. A lot of us are responsible. They are not. Shani is obsessed with YouTube money. And until she gets it, they're going to make every excuse possible to not have to get up and go get a job. That's their business. I can't blame me for that. They got to blame themselves. But I know this, though. If they don't cut that mess out, somebody's going to flag them down. Shani's too stupid to see it, but a lot of you know what I'm talking about. So, how long have I known Shani? About 11 years. About 11 years here on YouTube. About 11 years. I've known Shani. Shani wasn't always behaving like this. When she was with Chris, she acted like a normal woman, except she was still cussing up a storm, but at least she would admit that she shouldn't have been doing it. And she's always been like a hippie on here. But she really changed when she got involved with Rev. Like everything started coming out of her when she got involved with him. Yeah, they're not on YouTube. They're on Instagram. If I said they're on YouTube, I misspoke. Jason says he can't work because he'll freak out on someone. Jason doesn't want to work because Jason is lazy. That's why he doesn't want to work. He doesn't want to work because he's lazy. Shani doesn't want to work because she's lazier than Rev. Rev actually believes Shani's nonsense. Actually, that's not true. Rev doesn't want to be alone. Rev knows full well she can get up and work. Rev just doesn't want to be alone. That's what it is. Let me just stop saying that he believes her. He knows full well she can work. That's what money does, and it's all gone. Exactly. And it ain't never coming back to those lazy people. Not unless they win the lottery or something. Like, well, G-Man, why would you treat us like this, Joe G-Man? Even if you disagree with us, we gave you a house. I appreciate the fact that you gave me a house. I gave you somewhere to live for almost 2 years. And I paid your bills, a lot of your bills when you was in Colorado. And I paid your bills when you was over there living with the uncle for a little bit. Don't give me that garbage like I sat around and did nothing. Like Rev wants to talk about how he gave me a house, and how he gave me a house, and how he gave me a house. You don't want to talk about all the stuff that I did for him. How I kept this relationship together. So anyway, I'm going to wrap this up. I just wanted to make this video directed toward those two. Stop blaming me for your problems. I'm not the one stopping you from going out there and bettering yourself and going to get a job. If you don't want to go get a job, that's your own personal business. That's all I can say. If you don't want to get a job, that is your own personal business. Nobody's stopping you from getting a resume and trying to figure out what you can do. Go somewhere where you can get some training and actually go out there and provide for your family. Because that's not my job, and that's not the job of the people here on the internet. You have a drug problem, Rev. You and the woman, and you and the girl that you're with. You have a drug problem. Do something about it. Go seek professional help. All right? Later, guys.